Assalamu alaikum. My name is Professor Dr. Rashid Zia. I hope you are all fine, and as we know that we are passing through a pandemic of COVID-19, and for the time being we have to rely on and the online lectures and demonstrations. Today we're going to discuss measles. Uh, is a serious disease as per WHO recommendation. It remains a leading cause of death among young children globally, despite the availability of a safe and effective vaccine. An estimated 197,000 children died from measles in 2007. Mostly they were children under the age of 5 years. Measles is a viral disease and it belongs to a paramyxoviridae. Measles is an infection of the respiratory system caused by a virus, especially a paramyxovirus of the genus Morbillivirus. Morbilliviruses, like other paramyxoviruses, are enveloped single-stranded negative sense RNA viruses. You can see the picture of the measles virus. This is a more elaborated picture of the measles virus. Measles virus is a spherical, non-segmented, single-stranded RNA virus in the Morbillivirus family, closely related to the rinderpest and canine distemper viruses. It contains 6 structural proteins, 3 that are complex to the RNA and 3 that are associated with a viral membrane envelope. As you all know, measles is spread through respiratory. It means a contact with fluids from an infected person's nose and mouth, either directly or through aerosol transmission, and is highly contagious. That's mean 90% of the people without immunity sharing a house with an infected person will catch it. The infection has an average incubation period of 14 days. The range is between 6 and 19 days, and infectivity lasts from day 2 to day 4 days, prior to 2 to 5 days following the onset of the rash. Measles, a childhood infection, mostly, as you know, affects the children. It's an age-specific attack rates may be highest in susceptible infants younger than 12 months, and the school-age children or young adults, depending on the local immunization practice and incidence of the disease. As you know, it is quite common to have measles in Pakistan, so we give vaccination quite early. As you know, according to the EPI program, which is an immunization program in Pakistan, we give 2 doses of measles vaccine, one at 9 months of age and the other one at 15 months of age. The prominent features and the complication related to measles are going to discussed. It can give you a rash and that also spreads from upwards to downwards. I will discuss, but it can also give you the rash. The virus usually enter through the mouth and also exit from the mouth, and then it spreads. Once it enter into the body, it spreads through the blood to the whole of the body. It can give you complications like otitis media, pneumonia, encephalitis, SSPE. We will going to discuss all the complications in detail. The children or the tend to appear moderately ill and uncomfortable because of the viral prodromal symptoms. The Koplik spots are the hallmark and the pathognomic sign of measles, and they are 1 to 2 millimeter blue-gray macules on an erythematous base, and they usually present inside the mouth. The measles rash is a maculopapular erythematous rash that involves the palms and the soles also. Lesions density is greatest above the shoulder, where macular lesions may coalesce, unite, and give an erythematous base. Lesions The rash is a leading manifestations of measles, and it typically begins at the hairline from here and spreads caudally downwards over the next 3 days as the prodromal symptoms resolve. The rash lasts 4 to 6 days and then fades from head downwards as it appears. Desquamation may be present, but it is generally not severe. Desquamation of the skin when the skin is peeled off. Complete recovery from the illness generally occurs within 7 to 10 days from the onset of the rash. You can see the whole face and the chest and the abdomen, and this is a typical rash in measles. The child looks a bit unwell as compared to other diseases with a rash. The risk factors for the infections: children who are immune deficient due to HIV or acquired immune deficiency syndrome due to AIDS, leukemia, alkylating agents, or they're taking corticosteroids. Uh, Regardless of the vaccination immunization status, they are more prone to develop infection. Travel to the area where measles is endemic, like in Pakistan, or contact with the travelers to endemic area. You can get measles quite easily. Infants who lose passive antibody prior to the age of routine immunization. Usually you get immunity from the mother for the first 6 months of life, and we give vaccination earlier at 9 months of age. So there is a window between 6 months to 9 months of children's age when they can have measles because the immunity is low, and sometimes the children develop the measles before they get the immunization at the age of 9 months. If we give vaccine earlier than 9 months, the response is not very good. So it is decided to give the vaccination at 9 months of age to get a good response. Measles is a highly contagious disease, and the virus spread by coughing and sneezing, and the close personal contact or direct contact with the infected nasal or throat secretions of an infected child. The early symptoms in measles is incubation period, as I have mentioned, from exposure to the onset of the symptoms ranges from 8 to 12 days. The prodromal phase is marked by malaise, fever, and anorexia, and then you develop conjunctivitis, cough, and coryza, which is known as 3 C's. The entire course of uncomplicated measles from late prodrome to resolution of the fever and rash is roughly 7 to 10 days, and cough may be a final symptoms to appear and the last one to resolve. Sometimes cough lasts many weeks before the child recovers from the cough. Beginning of the illness in measles approximately 10 days after the initial exposure to the virus. The classic viral prodrome occurs, that is fever, non-productive cough, coryza, conjunctivitis. Additional prodromal symptoms may include malaise, myalgia, photophobia, and periorbital edema. As I told you, the Koplik spots are the pathognomic sign of measles, and they are present on the mucosa of the cheeks, and they usually develop within 2 to 3 days. The Koplik spots are typically arise on the buccal, gingival, and the labial mucosa. You can see the picture of the Koplik spots. The risk factors for severe measles are malnutrition, if the child is underweight and malnourished, and if there is an underlying immune deficiency. In pregnancy, if you have no vaccination, you develop a severe measles during pregnancy because due to low immunity, and if there is a vitamin A deficiency, you develop a severe measles, and you are at higher risk if there is a deficiency of vitamin A in the body. The mortality rate in measles associated with the uncomplicated measles is in immunocompetent, well-nourished children is low, but rises rapidly with malnourishment, as it is marked in African children because due to malnutrition. In there is a modified form of measles The modified measles occur in children who have received serum immunoglobulin after their exposure to measles. The measles symptom complex may still occur, but the incubation period is as long as 21 days with the same symptom as measles, but in a milder form. This is called a modified measles. Then there is a atypical measles when they are exposed to the measles virus. A mild or a non-existent prodromal of fever, headache, abdominal pain, and myalgia precedes a rash that begins on the hands and feet and spreads centrally. The rash is most prominent in the body creases and may be macular, hemorrhagic vesicles, petechial, or urticarial. Complication may include pneumonia, pleural effusion, hilar lymphadenopathy, hepatosplenomegaly, hyperesthesia, or paresthesia. Atypical measles occur in individuals who were previously immunized with the killed measles vaccine between 1963 and 1967 and who have incomplete immunity. Now we have live vaccine, and as a measles vaccine or as a part of MMR, measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, and they are live vaccine and they give you good immunity, and so there are less chances of developing atypical measles with the present vaccination. Subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, as I mentioned before, is a complication which is a life-threatening complication of measles. Subacute sclerosing panencephalitis is a neurodegenerative disease caused by persistent infection of the brain by an altered form of the measles virus. Neither the biology underlying the viral persistence nor the triggering mechanism for viral reactivation is well understood in this disease. In most cases, the infected children remain symptom-free for 6 to 15 years after acute measles infection. Roughly 10 years after the measles infection, you started showing signs of this new neurodegenerative disease with the loss of milestones of development. Subacute sclerosing panencephalitis is a rare chronic progressive encephalitis that affects primarily children and young adults, caused by a persistent infection of the immune resistant measles virus, which can be a result of a mutation of the virus itself. 1 in 100,000 people infected with measles develop SSPE. SSPE is incurable, but the condition can be managed by medication if treatment is started at an early age, but usually the prognosis is quite poor, and most of the children died due to this serious complication of measles. The clinical presentation of subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, they are characterized by a history of primary measles infection, usually before the age of 2 years, followed by several asymptomatic years. They can be from 6 years to 15 years on average, and then gradual progressive psychoneurological deterioration consisting of personality changes, seizures, myoclonics, ataxia, photosensitivity, ocular abnormalities, spasticity, and coma. The progress of subacute sclerosing panencephalitis. The initial symptoms of SSPE usually involve regressive changes in the intellectual and personality of the child. Within several months, the psychological symptoms are compounded with neurological ones, most often consisting of myoclonic jerks, relentless mental and motor deterioration then ensures, culminating in extreme neurological dysfunction and death within several years of the onset of symptoms. Our patient's clinical course reflects the typical natural history. The diagnosis of measles is usually a clinical diagnosis when we see a lot of cases of measles. Most cases of measles, as I mentioned, are diagnosed clinically when there is an epidemic or children are coming with a typical rash, or there may be a Koplik spots inside the buccal mucosa. You can also directly uh, find the virus from the nasal or respiratory secretions for diagnostic purposes. You can diagnose measles by microscopy. Production of the multinucleated giant cells with the inclusion body is a pathognomic for measles. This is the multinucleated giant cell with the inclusion bodies. During the prodromal phase, such cells are detectable in the nasopharyngeal secretions. This is a more rapid and practical method of diagnosing measles than isolation of the measles virus. You can also diagnose the measles with immunofluorescence. Direct and the indirect immunofluorescence have been used extensively to demonstrate the measles virus antigen in the cells from the nasopharyngeal secretion specimen. The technique can also be applied to the urine, as such cells may be present in the urine 2 to 5 days after the appearance of the rash. This is the picture of the immunofluorescence, indirect and the direct immunofluorescence when you get a virus in the nasopharyngeal or the urine of a child infected with the measles. Measles virus can be isolated from a variety of sources like throat, conjunctival washings, sputum, urinary sediment cells, and you can grow them on the monkey kidney can be used as well. This is a picture of the virus of measles family. But as I said that in our setup The most of the cases of the measles are diagnosed clinically when there is an epidemic of measles infection. You can also diagnose measles by serology. Diagnosis of the measles infection can be made if the antibody titer rise by fourfold between the acute and the convalescent phase, or if measles specific IgM is found. The methods that can be used as an ELISA test in most of the countries. If you go there, sometimes they check your blood for measles antibody, and they declare you safe, and they don't give you any vaccination before you start working as a doctor. This is the MRI scan of a child with SSPE. The presence of measles specific antibodies in the CSF is the most reliable means of lab diagnosis of subacute sclerosing panencephalitis. So if you suspect SSP in a post measles child as a complication, you have to do a lumbar puncture and check the antibodies in the CSF of the affected child. Measles epidemic usually occur every 2 to 4 years in the developed countries in the absence of a widespread use of vaccine. Poverty and overcrowding increases the epidemics. In Pakistan, we see epidemic roughly after 4 years, but as the vaccination program is more established now, so we should see less and less epidemics of measles if we vaccinate all our children. As far as the treatment of measles is concerned, severe complication from measles can be avoided through supportive care that ensure good nutrition, adequate fluid intake, and treatment of dehydration with a WHO recommended oral rehydration solution to replace fluids and other essential elements lost from the diarrhea or vomiting. Antibiotics should be prescribed to treat eye and ear infection because you can get conjunctivitis and otitis media and also pneumonia from measles. Vitamin A is an essential part of the treatment in measles. All children in the developing countries diagnosed with measles should receive 2 doses of vitamin A supplements given 24 hours apart. This can help prevent eye damage and blindness. Vitamin A supplements have been shown to reduce the number of deaths from measles by 50%, which is a lot. So all children with measles must have 2 doses of vitamin A during the illness. The other way to prevent having measles infection, as I mentioned, is a vaccination. And in Pakistan we have EPI program, and we give 2 doses of measles vaccination, first at 9 months of age and the second is at 15 months of age. You can get measles vaccination as a part of MMR vaccination at any of age. The vaccines are live attenuated containing Monsters B or short strains, which will give seroconversion rate up to 90%, and the immunity produced after vaccination may be lifelong. As I mentioned, you can get measles vaccine as a part of MMR, that is measles, mumps, rubella. The measles vaccine is often incorporated with the rubella and mumps vaccine in countries where these illnesses are problem. It is equally effective in the single dose as measles vaccine or in combination form as an MMR. The combination proved to be effective and the safe vaccine. As I already told you, in Pakistan we give 2 doses of measles vaccine as a part of a EPI program at 9 months of age, and at the other one at 15 months of age. There is a misconception that you get autism after vaccination as an MMR or measles vaccination. In UK, vaccine uptake has fallen recently due to the fear over its safety, particularly as a cause of autism. These fears have now been confirmed as unsubstantiated. There is no evidence that the measles vaccine or the MMR vaccine can cause autism in children as a complication of vaccination. Measles mortality reduction is a successful initiative. After the introduction of a measles vaccine, the measles death worldwide fell by 74% between 2000 and 2007, from estimated 750,000 to 197,000. In addition, the complications are also less if you develop a typical or mild form of measles if you have been vaccinated with measles vaccine. Please do not neglect the poor for better word, because they can be a source of an epidemic, because the disease spreads rapidly amongst children, and vaccination for measles continues to be a top priority. We have to save all our children from measles because it is a deadly disease with a lot of complications. So the best is a prevention of measles by vaccination at 9 months and at 15 months of age. I hope this lecture will help you to understand the disease as measles and its complications and the treatment and how to prevent having measles epidemic. If you have any question, you can send me an email. My email address is rzia56@hotmail.com, or you can send me question on my WhatsApp, and my WhatsApp number is 0300 84400973. This is my also mobile number. You can phone me. I hope this will help you uh, to understand this common disease in children. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.